and welcome to episode 3 of Purple Georgia Knits podcast. How are you all? I'm well, and I'm back again to do episode 3. This is my second attempt at making a video because yesterday when I sat down to make my video, to put lighting into the room, I opened the window, or the blinds rather to say, and there was a lizard. He had got in between the screen and the window. And I wasn't happy because the whole video I was watching that window to make sure he wasn't moving. Then when he finally did move, I had a mini moment, and I didn't want you guys to see me have a little fit on camera because I can see all the gifs and the memes of me cutting up. So I said, I don't think I want that out of the internet. So I'm back. I hope you all have had a good week. And let's say I'll get into what I'm into. So I knitted this week on my Head of Food Day, as well as my Rose City Roller socks. And my main thing was to make like a dent in the Head of Food Day to get it at least halfway or part way so that I can be done by Christmas, or before Christmas, because that is my goal for the Head of Food Day. And maybe that is putting too much on me, but I like a challenge. Yeah, I like to challenge myself, and I pick patterns so that I can expand and grow in my knitting. But enough about that. I'll go ahead and get into my works in progress, and I'll show you where I am with my works. So right now I was saying I'm on my Rose City Roller socks, and this would be sock number 2. I did finish the first sock, and I'm cast it on for the second. And right now I finished the cuff, and I'm working into the heel flap. So this is going into the first couple of repeats for the heel flap. And I'm excited because I tried my first sock on and it fits like a glove, and the yarn is so soft. The yarn that I'm using is the Loops and Thread Elegance yarn in the Smoky Plum colorway, and I'm doing that on US size 1 DPNs. And that pattern's by Mara Briner, and I'm very pleased at my progress, and I can't wait to finish my second sock so I have a pair of socks to wear, and it's in my favorite color. And the second works in progress that I'm working on is my Head of Food Day that I said. And about last 2 weeks, I had a piece about this big with my stitch markers. And now I have a piece about this big. And so I have made a little headway into my Head of Food Day. And I'm at the point to where as I close up for my sleeves, and then to get to the rest of the pattern for the cardigan, have hat on the line, because I have a hat to show you as well. So that is on Loops and Thread Wool Like in the cool gray, and the pattern is by Hiroku Fukatsu. And all of these patterns are on Ravelry as well as me as Purple Georgia Knits. And you can check me out there on Ravelry or Instagram. I am on those two social medias. And I'm very pleased with the pattern. I'm also very in love with the pattern repeats and how it's coming out. And I think it looks wonderful. I'm very pleased, and I like to show it off because it looks good. And I'm proud of myself. So those are my 2 works in progress. And I did change out for the holiday my stitch markers. And my stitch markers are, I have a little Christmas tree. And then the other one on this side is a little Santa Claus. So that is what I'm doing right now as far as my works in progress and my finished objects is my first Rose City roller sock. And this is what it looks like. And I tried it on. I'm sorry I don't have a sock blocker to put it on because I'm not very experienced in making socks. This may be my third sock pattern that I've done. And my thing with knitting is I try something new. Ever so often I try to challenge myself to do something new, and I decided, well, this time I'll do socks, or this time I'll do a hat, or this time, like with the Hello Fude, I'm challenging myself with the Hello Fude cardigan to expand my knitting. So this is my sock, and it did start to pool right in this area, and I was like, I don't know if I like that, but then I started thinking about this is what gives the sock character. So I may have one sock with the stripe and the other one may not. I'm pleased with it. It's okay. It's nothing to cry about, and I tend to be a very uh OCD type of person where everything has to be perfect and in its place. But I'm pleased with it regardless of whether I have a big stripe around the middle of the foot. And it is what it is. I do have to weave in my ends, but as far as the sock, I'm very pleased. And that's my works in progress, or I mean my finished objects. This is my other finished object. Then I started this hat on Monday night, which about 2 days ago from the time I'm making this video. And because a friend asked me if I would make a couple of hats for her for Christmas, for her to give as Christmas gifts. So I had to put away my slouch tuva. I also put away my Hermione Hartshorn hat because of the allergy issue. But I'm hoping to pick those back up for the next couple of videos so you can see, what it looks like in my progress. But this is the hat that I was knitting for my friend, and it's a toddler size. And this is the Barley hat. And this hat is also on Ravelry. And you have a garter ridge section on the hat. And you wear the hat like this. Let's see. This is how it will look on somebody's head. Like that. On the baby's head. Toddler. So it was very quick and fast to knit up because it only took me like mostly an evening to sit down and do it, and I got to make a couple more. So those are my works in progress and my finished objects for this 2 weeks. And I'll talk about what I did this past weekend. I said last week in the video that I was going to go and experience a Roll Alpaca Challenge, and I did get to go. And I got to see some alpacas, and I even touched a few alpacas before I asked, do they spit? Yeah, I was making sure if they were dangerous before I even put my hands over in there. But I was very surprised to find out that alpacas are prey animals, and they are very shy. So when you go to reach for them, they're like, oh heck no, 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 no. They're getting out the way like I would if somebody was coming at me. So I did touch a few alpacas. I went with a close friend of mine, and that's not her thing really, but she went because she wanted to spend time with her friend. And it was an experience for her as well. And I'll put pictures at the end of a couple of alpacas that I met and touched. And after we saw the alpacas, we went around and they had a little vendor area where they were selling alpaca fiber, wool. They had gloves, yarn. I may have said yarn already. In different booths. And I saw a spinning wheel in action. I've never seen a spinning wheel in action, so I basically had a fit when I saw the spinning wheel, and I ran like a little kid over to the vendor area. And the lady was like, "Whoa." Can you imagine that? But those ladies there, they were very nice, and I felt very comfortable being there. And I also were able to take a drop spindle class, something that I've always wanted to do. And I am happy with what I did. I was able to purchase my very first drop spindle. And I actually made my first yarn on the drop spindle. So the lady that taught us, I lost her card. The lady that taught us how to drop spindle, her name was Chris, and she's with Tied in Stitches. And I don't know if you all can see this. I can try to get it as close as I can. And I don't think you can see it because it's going to get dark, blackout, because my lighting, the way my lighting is. But I will capture a picture of that and put it at the end of the podcast. And she did a wonderful job with teaching us, making us feel comfortable and making it easy to understand, because she said basically it's like two things that you have to do when you drop spindle, and that's the first thing was getting the mechanics of the drop spindle, and then the algebra. So I learned, and I will show you my first drop spindle that I purchased. Well, I only purchased one drop spindle, but I made two other ones before I even thought about taking a class, because I wanted to see if I could do it at home, just get a YouTube video and try to get some fiber and spin it up while I'm at home myself. But I decided if I were able to get somewhere where a class were, that I would do that. So this is my drop spindle, and I am very proud with it. It's just a plain drop spindle. And this is my yarn my very first yarn that I made on the drop spindle. And it is plied. She showed us how to ply off of we spin it off of the drop spindle onto a yarn winder. And then from that point, you put it back onto the drop spindle, plying it together with the spinning for the drop spindle. So she taught me those first few little bits, and I said, I think I want me some fiber. So I did purchase my first fiber over the weekend as well. And I'll show you that. It doesn't have a name or a colorway. It wasn't even in a bag. She just had them in baskets, and she dyed these, dyed the fiber. I'm so tongue-tied. I'm so sorry. It's like a lot of things I'm thinking of that I should say. In my head, it's the ADD. But I did purchase about an ounce just to play with, and this is 100% baby alpaca fiber, and just an ounce. And to me, this is a lot for an ounce of fiber. And it didn't have a colorway. I'm going to call this Midnight because it's very deep, dark blue. I guess I'm in the blue spell right now. But this is very blue and very soft. I mean, it is like baby hair soft, I guess, from baby alpaca. But it is very soft and it's wonderful. So I can't wait to get into that. I would have to use a brush, and she told us that we can go to our local Walmart and buy a doggy brush to draft and to comb it to where it's easier to draft. But I'm too afraid to even comb it because I like it and I don't want to mess it up. So I guess when I start to get into it, when I get over just wanting to look at it and stuff, because when I get new things, it's like I just want to love it for a while before I do anything with it. So that was my first fiber stash enhancement that I bought at the Georgia Roll Alpaca Challenge. And I also bought this. This is wool. It's 100% Polish merino. And it doesn't have a colorway, but I'm going to call this like sky gray, sky blue, blue, and like a teal. And I pulled out a little bit of this and I started to spin on one of the drop spindles that I made. And I'll show you what I did. This is the drop spindle that I made. I just took it. How did I make this? I went to my local Hobby Lobby, bought some dowels, bought some toy wheels, and some super glue and picture hooks. I put it together. It was very easy, but the most complicated thing to me with this, making this drop spindle, was what I wanted the design to be. So yeah, I made this drop spindle and painted it gold and drew a little flower around where the hole was. And I started to spin some of the wool from the pack I just showed you. And I'm still at a phase where I don't know if I like drop spindle or if I don't. This was very fun to do, but I only did a little bit and I want to knit. So I put it down and started to knit. It may take a few times before I realize if I like it or not. I'm still excited with being able to know how to spin. So I guess I can call myself a spinner. I am a spinner, y'all. But I am no expert. So this is just me playing around. And I haven't had any reactions to this wool. I'm very surprised because I ain't been taking any allergy medicine either. And that was a concern that I asked someone at the Alpaca Challenge was, will I have a reaction to alpaca hair, basically, alpaca hair. And I don't know how true this is. I didn't do my research. And I don't want to give y'all any stories. But the lady that I was talking to from Southern State Alpacas, and that's in Georgia, talking to her, she's in Adairsville. She basically said that alpacas are hypoallergenic. How can an animal be hypoallergenic? But I guess they are. I haven't had any reactions. This fiber has been sitting around. I've been in and out the bag because I've been wanting to look at my first stash enhancement as far as fibers. Hadn't been sneezing, hadn't been itching, any of that. So I'm very pleased with it and I'm very excited to get into, I guess, my experience with spinning. So that is my tales of Alpaca Challenge. To my surprise, being at the Alpaca Challenge, we got there very early. They opened up at 9. We were there at like, I want to say like 8:40. We wanted to beat the crowd. We got in there, and the thing was, there wasn't a crowd. So we were still able to enjoy ourselves. The spinning class, we were the only two in the spinning class. Like I said, there was nobody there but us, the packers, and the vendors pretty much, and there was a few people in and out. But I was very surprised that there wasn't a lot of turnout. I thought it was going to be a big turnout, a lot of people. I wasn't going to enjoy myself. I had a blast. I felt like a kid. I enjoyed myself. I learned the new hobby. And I need to stop learning new things because I'm sewing, I'm knitting, I'm crocheting. Now I'm going to be spinning. My husband is getting jealous, y'all. He's like, between you, the crochet and the knitting and your dramas. He said, you don't have time for me. So I'm sorry to be the what can I, hey, a girl has to have her hobbies. Girl has to keep her mind sane. I knit so I don't kill people. If you see me angry and knitting, leave me alone. Oh, that's just joking. I'm sorry. I'm just joking, guys. But those were my experience at the Royal Alpaca Challenge. And after we went to the Royal Alpaca Challenge, we ate lunch and then we went to Macon, Georgia to Christmas in the South. And basically, Christmas in the South is where you go and people have crafts. And maybe it's like, okay, we were in like the Coliseum. I guess that's what you would call it. It was like, I want to say a covered dome or place where they would play basketball games. Coliseum, I don't know. But they had on the floor, they had all of these booths where people make crafts and they sell them at the Christmas in the South. And I was very surprised because where I'm at, we have a small craft show, like craft fair, very small. And this was a whole lot bigger. And that place was so crowded, I was uncomfortable because I have issues with large crowds. And I was basically walking almost like hand in hand with my friend because it was too many people. But I did enjoy myself. I did experience a lot of new things that you don't see. Somebody at one booth was making water fountains out of plates and cake plates and bowls. That was a different thing to see. Of course, I saw a lot of hand sewn bags. I saw a lot of knitted scarves, hats, and that's like things that I do. And I was like, I need to be thinking about getting myself a booth maybe one day. But you have a lot of handmade items, jewelry. There were at another booth, um, somebody actually made. Now, I didn't go in the booth because it had some things that I wasn't comfortable with, but it was beautiful jewelry. But somebody actually took butterfly wings, and I don't know if they encased it in resin, but they were making earrings, keychains, necklace charms with real butterfly earrings. Now, I was not happy because I like butterflies and they were encased in earrings. And they also had them in picture frames as well. And then my friend happened to call my name and I looked around and they had a bat in a frame and I tore out of that place. That's a story for another time, me with bats. But to see the very unique, craft things. And I love crafts. And to see people that do crafts, it gives me joy because creativity is wonderful. You can learn new things from different people. And Santa Claus was there, and they had a Santa Claus walking around. And they also had a Santa for the kids to take pictures. And I also saw another booth where they were selling seasonings and drink mixes. So we got to sample all of that stuff, and I felt like a kid in the candy store with the drink mixes and the food samples. You can go around and just, oh, can I taste this? Can I taste this? And they had bukus of it, and it was wonderful. And basically, we had a whole day of just outing, and we walked a lot at the alpaca, and we walked a lot at Christmas in the South. And when I got home, I crashed, and I pretty much didn't wake up until the next morning. I neglected my whole family that day and went to sleep. So that's pretty much of what I've experienced. I will probably be making this repeat thing is to go to the alpaca challenge maybe next year and to go to craft shows. And if at all possible, maybe here soon, I can have my own booth at one of these fair craft shows. Because I did have a lady while we were doing the samples. She saw me and she saw a pair of earrings that I made, and she was like, "Oh, where did you get those?" And I was like, "Oh, I made those." And she was like, "Girl, you need to have your own booth." And I just looked at her, I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "Yeah." So that's where that idea come from. And I've always had people say, "Girl, you need to go on and do your thing with your earrings and with this and that." And I just don't know if people will receive me with it. So that's part of another reason why I started podcasting, is to get myself out there. So you may see me, you may not, here soon. And I did make these earrings as well. And these are crochet over wire. And they're on the simple ear hook. And I got my inspiration from Pinterest. I saw a pair of earrings and I said, maybe I can try that. And I did it. And I love my purple earrings, and I wear it every time I wear my purple shirt. So, yeah. I'm at like almost 30 minutes. So, thank you guys for coming and sitting with me again. I thank you for those who viewed my videos. I thank you to those who friended me on Instagram. And I hope you come back and enjoy what I have to say and make new friends. So, again, this is Tamika. I hope you all enjoy and have a good week. Bye. And I just found a spider and I'm gonna kill it.